Welcome to Positive Outcomes, where leaders turn hard-won experience into income, impact, and freedom.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Positive Outcome. Again, we are super excited for another amazing show. This is where professionals, entrepreneurs, leaders, business owners, we all come together to use our expertise to generate income, impact, and freedom. And I am your host for today, Dr. Green. It's nothing about me. We are going to talk about our guest, okay? So today's guest is Francesca Kennedy. She is a powerhouse of purpose and impact. She's a TED. Yes, I love that. And you might have seen her talk Finding Hope in Murky Waters and was named one of People's Magazine's 25th most powerful women and one of Inc. magazine top 25 business leaders changing the world. Okay, before you continue this show, I need you to pause and share and call your husband, your wife, your friend, your girlfriends, and your girlfriend's girlfriends so they can come and let us benefit from this powerhouse because I am ready with my book and my pen. Her story weaves from fashion, philanthropy, and global leadership. As head of PR and CSR at Shop LC, one of the world's largest jewelry manufacturers, she helped deliver more than 55 million meals for children in need through the Your Purchase Feed program. The program is called Your Purchase Feed program. Francesca is also the founder of One Style, a social enterprise born from the water crisis at Lake Atitlan. I probably said it horribly. She will correct us. In Guatemala, empowering Mayan women through artisan work and global partnership. Her collaboration spans from Gwyneth Paltrow and Richard Benson to Lupita Nyong'o's. Wow. Showing that when purpose drives business, it creates movement that changes life. When purpose drives business, it creates movements that change lives. Francesca, you are welcome to Positive Outcomes.
Thank you, Dr. Doreen, for having me. I'm so happy to be here and share some of my learnings with your audience. Thank you.
Oh my God, you are just a powerhouse indeed. I'm sure I messed up some of the names and I'm so sorry about that. But you are such a powerhouse, and these are the kind of people that we'd love to have here so that the audience can learn from you and grow from you and go and take the leap of faith, right? So I said we're gonna have a good conversation. That's what the podcast is all about, right? But you went to TED Talk and you talked about finding hope in murky water. Can you just talk about what that? So, I mean, how do we find hope in that kind of water? Can we talk about that?
Yes, of course. Okay. So, spoiler alert, there's a happy ending, but it didn't start like that. So, back in 2013, the lake Gatitlan, which you almost nailed it. You got so close, better than most. Lake Gatitlan is in Guatemala, which is where my family is originally from. It's where I was baptized and raised, where my grandparents lived, where I spent all my summers. And back in 2013, NASA deemed it the worst natural disaster to occur. A hurricane came and wiped out a sanitation plant. There was years of agricultural runoff. Everything, all the fertilizer water was being dumped into the lake. And also the government back in the 70s and 80s hoped to stimulate the local fishing economy. And it brought this fish into the lake that was not natural to the ecosystem. So it was a perfect storm. So in 2013, this hurricane came and all of the cyanobacteria just came up to the surface. Every inch of that lake, which is massive, looks like an ocean, was covered in sewage water.
Oh.
And I would go back. I used to live in New York City, and I would go back every year for Thanksgiving and visit my grandparents. And I'll never forget this image. I saw little girls at the edge of that lake with sticks, and they were trying to create a clean spot of water, thinking, oh, if I just move the sewage water, it's going to be clean. And they had buckets and they were filling up the dirty water to drink, to cook, to clean. It was just an image that will never go away in my mind. And I knew in that moment I had to do something to help this community. I was working in finance at the time. I was working at Goldman Sachs in New York, and I thought, okay, I got to do something. I want to provide at least access to clean water filters to the communities. So I went to that local market, the markets that I've gone to in Guatemala since I was a little girl, and they were selling these beautiful huarache sandals, sandals that I've worn since I was a very little girl. And I thought, okay, I asked this woman, she was crying to me because tourists had stopped coming because of the contamination. She's like, please help me. I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids this month. So I took all the sandals she had, like about 50 pairs, and I took them back to New York City. And in New York, I happened to have a girlfriend who was an editor at Harper's Bazaar magazine. So I took the sandals to her. I gave them to as gifts to friends, to everyone I knew, and the feedback was incredible. Everyone said, they're really beautiful. And so I thought, if I really want to help this community, the women, the Mayan artisans around the lake, the children who have no access to clean water, maybe I can do something very similar to what Tom's shoes did. I can create this huarache sandal that is very traditional to the Mayan community, update it, and then provide proceeds to provide water filters to the kids there. So that's what I did. This was my side hustle. So every night I called it my Cinderella syndrome. So I'd be coming home from work from Goldman. I would buy the domain, Shopify page, take product shots, send samples out to editors. So I was always so excited to come home from work and work on this passion project. And very quickly, we got into the magazines. We got into Harper's Bazaar. We got into Vogue. And this was back when print was even more powerful. Now digital, we all know, is more powerful. It was so important for us as a brand to get into these magazines. And because we did get in these magazines, we ended up getting big purchase orders from Gap, J. Crew, Anthropology, and it took off. It was just like this. And so we were able to provide thousands of water filters to communities in Guatemala. We were able to pay premium fair trade wages to the women around the lake. Some of the women had no idea what their true costs were. They didn't know how to make margins or profitability. And so we were able to help educate them on that. And for the first time in their lives, they were actually being profitable and actually having money to support their families. And something that was so incredible. And so we did that for about 10 years.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing. So were you using it and then when you bend back, they'll make more and then the demand and supply, how did that go? Like you have
Yes.
all
Oh,
this.
it was a great question. So they're handmade. So this isn't like a factory in China where I can just press
Mhm.
a button and order and say, send me more. It takes time. It was a lot of patience getting those purchase orders with great advance notice to the artisans so that they had enough time to order their supplies. So there was definitely a learning curve in the beginning, but we were able to work on it. And especially with our retail partnerships, work with them to understand that this wasn't going to be a quick factory made thing. So very much handmade, very much in the middle of nowhere, Guatemala. So lots of supplies that have to get to through mudslides, through one little road. So a lot of determining factors to make these products.
That is super amazing. You see how she turned a challenge into an opportunity. Like we always say on positive outcome, every challenge has a seed inside of an opportunity that is going to grow. And this is a typical example. Where are we? Are we still doing the sandals? Where are we right now with that?
Question. So it's still a story of hope. So we paused it during COVID. During COVID, all of the supply, we couldn't get supplies into Guatemala. We couldn't get supplies out. Shipping container costs went they were so expensive. And also, a lot of our big box retailers, Gap closed 3,000 stores during COVID, and J. Crew filed for bankruptcy. So, a lot of those purchase orders were just not renewed. So, what we did was we essentially turned IX Style into a nonprofit. So the Mayan artisans, they started making face masks with Mayan fabric. And they came in a 3-pack, and we were selling those to customers in the United States. And 100% of those proceeds went to the Mayan artisans. It no longer was a for profit because I knew that these women now had their kids at home. Typically, when the kids are at school in Guatemala, they get 2 meals for the kids. And now the kids are at home. The women didn't have, nobody was buying sandals that were over $100. So I thought, okay, we have to do what we can. And so we started making these face masks, and all the money went to the women to make sure that their families could eat. I think everyone knows, we all thought it was going to be for a short period, maybe a month, 2 months, three
Yeah.
months, and it went on and on and on. So at some point, we were like, okay, we are going to pause this and we're going to relaunch it when the retail world and the world opens up again. So right now we are rebranding. So there's good news. We're going to
Oh,
relaunch probably within the next few months. So we shall see. But in the meantime, it is a story of hope because the lake has been cleaned up again.
well,
So the government of Spain lent Guatemala money to rebuild the sanitation plant and it looks beautiful again. So it's a really, water has an amazing capacity to cleanse itself. So if you have gone to Guatemala recently, you can get in the water. It's beautiful. The communities are thriving. So I love telling people, don't let something bad happen and then say, oh, we can't fix it. Everything, if you come together as a community, everything can be fixed.
that is such an amazing story. I love it. And I love it that you were very strategic in your approach, right? You just didn't say, well, I'm so compassionate, let me take my money and give. You actually made something from the community, sold it, and used that. And that's really important for some of us that are just like to give and help mankind. We have to have a process, right? Like you thought about it and then you had a means of helping them and you were able to sustain it. And now you're strategizing. I absolutely love that. And also, you have worked, I mean, like you're just talking about you was really very impressive, right? Across major names from major retailer icons. What did those partnerships working along those really high, reputable organizations, right? What did that teach you about alignment, about purpose, and about aligning the purpose of the company with the profit?
Definitely. So definitely found strategic partnerships. I think Richard Branson's a great example of that. He is all about social enterprise and entrepreneurship, solving the world's problems through entrepreneurship. So I think partnering with him, we sold at his resort. That was really great. We purposely chose a lot of our partnerships. We worked with Rebecca Minkoff. She's the number one accessories designer in the United States. She invested in the company and she's been down to Guatemala. And it just really, I really love finding people who have been to Guatemala, who love the beauty, the uniqueness of it. In Guatemala, we have 26 dialects of the Mayan language. It's a
Wow.
very beautiful place where you have all these cultures, this beautiful melting pot. And I want to keep all of that alive, right? These long time heritage and cultural things that are so unique that you can't find anywhere else in the world. So finding partnerships who really recognize the beauty and the value of keeping those traditions alive is very important to me. Working with Gwyneth Paltrow, she loves beautiful cultural things as well. So working with her team was great. That was a really fun experiment too. This is something that I love sharing with people because you never know the seeds that you plant one day when they're going to grow. So with Gwyneth
Right.
Paltrow, people always ask, how did you work with all these celebrities like Richard or
Yeah.
Gwyneth?
Yeah.
So one of the things I loved sharing is with Gwyneth Paltrow, you know, unfortunately, you can Google and kind of find out where most celebrities live. So I had interns and they're like, hey, Gwyneth Paltrow actually lives down the street in New York. And I was like, great, let's pack some samples. So we sent some samples to her doorman and we wrote our mission like, hey, with every purchase, we help provide access to clean water to communities. And I planted the seed. We sent boxes like this to everyone, to Beyonce, to Taylor Swift. And not all seeds will grow, but the few that do will change everything. So with Gwyneth, we planted the seed and I forgot about it. And this was in the summer. It's been in 2013, 2014, something like that. So come right before Christmas, I see all of these orders coming through. And I was like, oh, what's happening? So I went to our Google Analytics page to see where they were being referred from. And I saw Goop, which is Gwyneth Paltrow's website. So I immediately realized, oh, she must have received them. So I click on the link and there she is wearing the sandals. And it
Oh,
says her favorite things. So I
oh,
always tell these people, I love sharing this story because plant as many, many, many seeds as you can because you never know. All it takes is one. And after that, she featured us. And then we did a special collaboration with her and on her website that millions of people got to see. And because of that, we got more purchase orders and it just led to one thing after another.
That is absolutely amazing. Now, help us talk to the people on looking at us right now, and they're in the phase of starting a business. Some of them are discouraged. They don't even know if it's going to work. Are people going to buy it? The collaborators are not getting back to them. Now they're doing investors. They've sent all the information out. They're like, this is not working. What advice do you have for us? Because for the audience.
Oh, 100%. You're gonna have days like that, and don't worry. Like, there are gonna be highs and lows. That's the nature of any business, but just be resilient. Get up every day and plant as many seeds as you can. You're gonna have to get comfortable with hearing no. I heard no all the time. That doesn't mean anything. All it takes is a few yeses and it will change everything. So just be resilient. Don't be hard on yourself when you see someone copy you. I remember a day when I saw the knockoff at a huge, huge brand. I can't say who, but I was heartbroken. I wrote to my lawyer and I was like, I want to do a cease and desist letter. Babe, it means you made it. If someone's knocking you off, it's a good thing. So after that day, I let myself cry that morning. And then I was like, you know what? This is a good thing. That means people are noticing our brand and they're excited about what we're doing. So be resilient, don't give up. And if you see knockoffs, just keep going. You're just on your path to doing great things. And then honestly, have a great sounding board. So I always recommend having a great board. So create a board of people who inspire you, who are thought leaders in the industry, who have a great network, who can open doors for you, who you can reach out to for these examples. Like if someone does knock you off, what should you do? So I really do believe having a board of advisors, having at least like call with them once every other month, once every month, depending on how busy they are. But just being able to have those check-ins and just letting them know what you're working on, because people always are willing to open doors if you ask. So I think those are some of the pieces of advice that I would offer people in starting out or who are already in it and they don't know how to get to the next step.
It's amazing. So you looked only for collaborators, not investors.
I did have investors, but I didn't originally look for them. So I did this show called Project Runway. So I'll go back to, okay, I had a board of advisors. And so one of my board of advisors, her name is Alexandra Wilkes Wilson, and she was one of the founders of Gilt Group. They were one of the very first in luxury sample sales where you had 24 hours or 48 hours to buy a Gucci bag, but it was limited supply, could do it online instead of having to go wait in line at a sample sale in New York. And that she ended up selling her company to Saks Fifth Avenue for 300 million. So she was on my board of advisors and she said, hey, Francesca, I actually have heard of a show that I think you should be on called Project Runway Fashion Startup. So kind of like Shark Tank, but for fashion brands. She said, they asked me to be a judge on it. She says, I just simply don't have the time, but you should be a contestant. So she gave me the contact information. I did the application. It was very rigorous. I had to send tax returns and referrals. It wasn't easy. Definitely a rigorous process. But I got on. And so if you go on the show, there's a panel of 4 judges and it's Shark Tank. So there's a possibility that they'll invest in your company. So I did it, pitched it. I never liked being on the camera, which is, hi, here I am. I'm getting more comfortable with it. But back then I was very uncomfortable with it, but I did it. And 3 of the 4 judges ended up investing in my company, including Rebecca Minkoff, who is the #1 accessories designer in the US. So I didn't go chasing investors. I mostly did the show because I knew a lot of eyeballs would watch the show and we could tap into a new audience and tap into more sales and just share our brand mission and our water mission. And because of that, I did end up getting investors, but it wasn't something that I knew. I didn't think it was a right fit because we are handmade product. So it's very hard to scale. And I know that investors, the first
Right.
question is, how can you scale? And I'm like, that's not the point of this brand.
Wow.
But
That's
I did find
amazing.
some
Yes, yes.
great partnerships.
So again, for people, because it's amazing, like how it started and how collaboration came in and how you found investors and things like that. So for audiences that are pivoting from, like for me, I left corporate America and then I'm doing coaching and consulting. Some people leave and they're doing candles or they're doing some kind of products that they are selling. For people like that, based on what you've been through, what are some of the challenges that you faced around in the process of building this company, and how did you overcome them?
So I definitely bootstrapped everything and used my own money in the beginning for a few years until I did Project Runway was like, I don't know, more than 6 years into the business. So I started with very little savings. I did everything and reinvested all the money back into the company. So I'd say bootstrap your way. I remember I would get a U-Haul truck instead of paying a freight forwarder to do door-to-door delivery in the beginning. I thought I'd save a little bit of money to get my own U-Haul truck, go to the airport, pick up the big order that would come from Guatemala, drive it back. I thought I'd be saving myself like a few $1,000s. In the end, I remember the very first time I did this, I went and the shoes weren't ready. So I had to rent the truck 2 days. So now we're like eating into cost. So one of the advices I'd say is bootstrap when and where you need, but also leave it to the experts where it counts. Like with shipping, there are companies who do it really well. They're like, rely on them. Get referrals from people who have already done it in your business. If you're a candle maker, reach out to other candle makers or like do some research on who they're already using before you invest too much time and energy trying to save money. So definitely bootstrap where you can and then also leave it to the experts where it's important. So some of the mistakes I've definitely learned were trying to do everything myself in the beginning. There are some things that you really should leave to the experts.
That is super amazing. And for someone that is also trying to, I don't know, maybe they don't have as much savings maybe as you had in the beginning, and they're really thinking about some help because 6 years they probably will not be able to sustain it from their own funds and they need help, right? So do you have like a lingo, or how did you talk to this collaborator? What did you put on the letter?
Yes. I literally would stop people on the streets in bars. I'll give it one example. So one time I was getting a pedicure. I had the luxury of living in New York City. And if we're honest, in New York City, that's where all the a lot of influencers are, a lot of editors are, a lot of buyers are for retail shops. So I remember one time I was getting a pedicure and I looked over and right next to me was a very famous influencer at the time. I, of course, was wearing my sandals. You have to wear your product all the time, always have it with you. And I just looked over and she couldn't run away. She's getting her feet done. She's got no shoes on. So like perfect time to pitch her. So I told her about our water mission and she was like, great, here's my agent's email. Email him. You can figure out where to send samples through my agent. To be honest, I wasn't sure if she was blowing me off or she was genuine. And so I went home and I emailed the agent and surprisingly, the agent responded and said, send them to this address. And she did. She rocked those sandals all summer long and I didn't have to pay her. She just genuinely loved our water mission. So I think if you meet people, like it's so important to tell your why. Like why is this important to you? If you're doing candles, why is this candle more special than another? Why did you start it? Like what inspired you? I think sharing your why is so, so important. And that's what people will remember.
That is super amazing. So just be prepared at any time because when the opportunity shows up and you're not prepared, you're going to lose, right? I think that's what I just gonna say. Just stay prepared. So when you meet someone and you're ready to pitch, you already have it ready. Practice it, right? Pretty much practice it so that when you see someone, you can just go ahead and pitch and get that sale. This is just super, super amazing. You know, I want to go back to because a lot of people, including myself, we want to really help. Like, as you can hear from my accent, I'm from Cameroon in Africa, right? And your story really, it touches me because I would love to do something like that, like what you did. I don't know how the system is, but they're very well, I'm sure they were welcoming because you were there to help them, right? How did you no, okay, good. Talk to us about that because I know, like I went to my country and I was trying to open like a pharmacy, give free stuff, but it was a little bit challenging, although I was trying to help them out. How did you overcome that aspect of your work?
That's a great question. And it took a year of going back and earning the trust of the Mayan community because how many people have come through and said, made big promises to them? They've heard it all before. And, I'm this young girl and they're like, how is she really actually going to help our life? But they didn't understand. And then it just took earning their trust, going back getting bigger and bigger orders, that they finally understood I was a partner and not just someone there to take, right? I was there to give. You just have to be patient, really patient.
I like what you said, earning their trust. I love that you said that because a lot of things that has happened from these people is that we come there, we give them all these promises, we overpromise and we underdeliver.
Right.
So it's really hard for them now to trust the next person. So you just started by earning their trust. That happened right away. You said earn their trust. And I think that that's what we as the audience we need to hear, that going back, you might mean well, you might think well, you might want to do the best thing. But again, you need to engage the people to know that I really care about mankind. I'm not coming to exploit you because there've been people that have gone back there. And believe it or not, they've ended up exploiting. I don't want to go there, but you have to end their trust. So thank you for saying that. That's really, really, really important. And then I wrote something that you said that you said something that just keep planting the seed. I wrote that down. And you never know when it's going to grow. That's what she said. Just keep planting the seed, guys. Like she said, just keep planting it. You never know when that seed is going to grow. So do not give up. You're listening to both of us right now. Don't give up. So now let's go back to leadership in at the Shop LC, right? Right now, you are the head of PR. How is that going? Somebody listening to you here, I know, is leading PR somewhere. What advice do you have for them? And how can they structure their role to succeed?
Yes. So I'll explain what Shop LC is. So Shop LC is one of the largest jewelry manufacturers in the world that you may have never heard of. And I have to say, I'm obviously working on changing that. But if you've bought jewelry, I like to joke that you have most likely indirectly bought it from Shop LC through another brand at a 400% markup. There's Shop LC. We're also a 24/7 shopping network. So we compete with QVC or HSN. So if you still have cable, you will find us on there. We're in over 100 million homes, and we're able to provide quality pieces that don't tarnish, real gold, real gemstones, real diamonds, everything at affordable pricing. And the LC stands for loving care. So for every piece that you buy from Shop LC, we provide a meal to a child in need. So we have been able to give 55 million meals since we started this program. And we work with 3 nonprofits, one in India, which is where we manufacture all of our jewelry and where our founder is from. And we work with Ashka Patra. And then in the United States, we work with No Kid Hungry. And then locally in Austin, Texas, which is where our US headquarters is, we work with Backpack Friends. So food scarcity is also a big thing in the United States. In Texas, 1 in 4 kids go hungry on the weekends. And in India, it's 1 in 3 kids every day. So we work with these nonprofits strategically to really make an impact. And to answer your question for PR, it's again about telling your why. Everyone wants a story. PR is earned media, and you really need to tell your story. Like, why is this important over another brand? What is different from your brand to another one? So our brand really exists. Our North Star is to provide 1 million meals a day by 2040. We are here to really make an impact on the world. And we started this, my founder, he's from India, and the founder of the nonprofit we support there, he saw little kids on the street fighting with dogs over scraps of food. So that's not okay. That is not the world we want to live in. And when we as humans are able to step in and make a difference, it's the rent that we pay here on earth is service. Like we all have to do our part. And so when you see something that's not right, we need to step up and be the change. And so I'm really proud to work at Shop LC and say with all the people listening, I think it's so important if you're selling jewelry or candles or whatever it is, it's so important to tell your why and share your story of why you're doing it. Why does this make a difference in the world?
So amazing. So amazing. 5 million meals. That is extra.
55 million.
55,
Yes.
55, 55. Yes, that's an accomplishment.
Over 30,000 meals a day that we're giving.
So I am curious to know what mindset are essential to scaling it to that level. Like, what is the strategy that you guys had to scale to that level?
Okay, so they started in 2007. Again, be patient. It has not been like a journey just like that. So they started in 2007. If you remember, in 2008 was the world financial crisis. So they were off to a great start, and then the world kind of collapsed. And so our founder changed LC became it started because it was the liquidation channel. So LC was originally like because they had to sell things at the cheapest prices because the world crashed. No one wanted to pay, high-end jewelry. So they were liquidating the jewelry. They're like, we'll take whatever we can get. So this is how it all started. But it did well because people didn't have that much money, but they were willing to pay for bargain prices. So it actually did really well during the world financial crisis. And so once the world financial crisis came out of it, they thought, well, we're not just liquidating anymore, it's just low cost. So they changed the name to Shop LC Low Cost. So then they
Wow.
were off and they've been around as Shop LC. And then I've changed it recently to Love and Care because we have pieces that range from $1 to $10,000. We have something for everyone. I changed it. It's no longer low cost,
Low
but love
cost.
and care.
Low cost to love and care. Take home message here is that it takes patience, strategy, and hard work to
Yes.
transform from low cost to love and care. Okay. So we just have to start slow, but understand that we can scale by putting the right strategy, people, technology, things in place, tools in place, but it is doable. 55 million.
Yeah.
55
Totally.
million. It's attainable. It is definitely attainable. That is such an encouraging to me personally because I am looking at doing something like that for my amazing, beautiful country, Cameroon, one day. So I really appreciate you coming and empowering me. So the audience, maybe she came just for me, right? What has been the most transformative moment in your career so far?
Wow. I still go back to the little girls at the edge of the lake with sticks. Seeing that, I think I know I always took water for granted, always. And in that moment, I realized it's such a privilege to have access to clean water.
Mm.
And I think that was the transformative moment for me that changed my life.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we are almost wrapping up, but I must ask you, you've worked across cultures and you've worked across continents, and that is a very diverse way of working because some of us just work here in the United States or just work in Africa or just work in Europe, right? So what has taught you what working across culture, what leadership lessons, I mean, have you learned in working across different cultures?
Oh my gosh, great question. Definitely, even in Guatemala, like I said, we have 26 different dialects of the Mayan language. I sometimes had to have a translator with me because I don't speak the dialects. So I speak Spanish. So I'd speak in Spanish, then the translator would speak in Cachical, one of the Mayan dialects. So having a really good team in place is so important, right? So having a great operator on the ground, having experts do what they do in each department really well is so important. I know that in the beginning I wore every hat. I was the operator. I did the shipping. I from my little apartment in New York City, I did everything. But as you scale, you have to I know it's so hard when it's your baby, but you do have to give up the reins and start trusting other people to help you because you can't scale if you're being torn in every different direction. So, with leadership, definitely hiring a great team, again, having a great board of advisors so that you can place the right people in those right roles is so important. And just making sure that the team is super aligned with the mission and checking in every day and seeing, hey, this is our North Star, making sure that everything from the top down helps feed into that North Star. So if your goal for us at Shop LC is to provide 1 million meals a day, what does that look like in terms of sales? So every department, we have that as our North Star.
That is super amazing. I actually love that. As we are wrapping up, two things, the last two things is, and we always ask the guest to give us some life lessons as they have learned that would take us to positive outcomes. So any of the life lessons you want to give it to us, we would take it. And then the next one is how can people contact you and if you have anything to offer the masses.
I'd say be humble. The highs are great. I think, I know that you led with all of the great accolades that I've received over the years, voted 25 most powerful women by People magazine, all of that. Those are really beautiful moments and like appreciate them, of course, be grateful for them, but also be humble because then there's COVID. Then there's the next thing that comes and just really humbles you. So just keep going and just know that life is full of highs and lows. And just again, be super resilient. So enjoy the ride, Just know it comes and goes. Have a great team of people around you, supportive people who will be there throughout the journey. And it's a ride and enjoy it.
That is amazing. Thank you so very much. And viewers, I told you, I don't want to stop, but I know I'm going to be contacting her and I'll probably invite her for my next women's conference so we can tap all of this and benefit from my expertise. So thank you all for watching. Please go ahead and share. And did you say how they can contact you already?
Yes, on LinkedIn. Please find me on LinkedIn, Francesca Kennedy, and I'm happy to stay in touch with all of you. So thank you so much. And I do have a little gift for all of you. So I know the holiday season's coming up, and if you're doing some shopping, go to shoplc.com and you can use my special discount. It's Francesca, Francesca 25, Francesca 25 for a little promo code, 25% of everything on the site. So enjoy it, share it with your friends, and I hope, you will be helping a child in need through your purchases. Remember that during the holiday seasons, you can buy on Amazon, which is great and easy, but you can also buy probably the same things on Shop LC, and it's actually going to create a really big impact on the lives of many people. Thank you so much for having me today. And I appreciate everyone listening and who took the time to listen to the whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Francesca, her name is on the screen. Just add 25 to her name and go to Shop LC and buy so we can also be part of that 55 million and take it up to 56 or maybe 60 million. I know I want to be part of that. So all of you guys go there, get the discount, shop, and share it so that we can all benefit from feeding the poor, the people that don't have it. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for listening to Positive Outcomes. Follow the show and share this episode to inspire someone's next chapter.